Hello everyone and welcome back to USB Chronicles and Memories. Obviously I'm Laura, as you've been watching. Anyways, to kind of start things out, I'm going to kind of go over that I'm happy with what I've been doing. I've made so much improvements. I now have an intro and an outro, and I can now post to YouTube, so that's very helpful. Also, editing is now pretty good, so I can do that now. Also, I kind of want to apologize. My roommate has her cat here, so if you hear something in the background or something, like if you don't hear it and if you see her on the couch, I thought about putting her in the room, but I just know that she'll be pretty mad and meow till I let her out, so can't win. But anyways, wherever she is. So today, when I was going through my USB drive, I found a research paper I did my freshman year of high school. I'm gonna be honest, I did not really like that class, mainly because it was kind of tough, especially when you're not used to it, I guess. Um, but I had Linda DeBoer from Miller, and if you know sports or anything, she's like the head volleyball coach there. And but anyways, she was pretty tough, and she made sure that you did your work. And although sometimes it felt like nothing you did was right, she was just trying to, help you out by being tough, which I appreciate that now, but then, you don't really think on that. So anyways, as always, I emailed myself the document, and this research paper was over the risk of type 2 diabetes for myself, kind of. For some context or background, my little brother, who's 10 right now, he got diagnosed at 3 with type 1 diabetes. It was a pretty sad time then, because a little more background, my stepfather, which is his dad, was in Mexico because he's originally an immigrant, and he was getting his visa and trying to get the legal documents. And at that time, it was terrible because he got stuck down there for like a year and a half, and this was like maybe 8 months after he got stuck there that we found out he had type 1 diabetes. So yeah. And also, most of my family, like the majority, have some type or kind of diabetes or something with their blood sugars. My mom, she doesn't take very good care of it, which a little iffy, but still. Anyways, like everyone in my family has diabetes, so I guess I'm gonna be stuck with that in the future. I hope not, but stuff happens. So, anyways, I have the document here, so I'm gonna read it to you guys. Let's see. Am I at risk for type 2 diabetes? The story of my search. Your little brother has been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, my mother said as she talked to me over the phone. My body froze with shock and my eyes were stung by tears. My mom tried to explain to me what exactly my brother's condition was, but at that moment I did not want to listen. I knew that diabetes was dangerous, and to a point I knew what it was, but I still had so many questions flying around in my head. Will my brother live a normal life? Can he eat all his favorite foods? Does this put my two youngest siblings at risk? My family has a past of both types of diabetes, and I knew that diabetes had to do with something with the way your pancreas and blood sugars worked together. Also, I knew that you had to prick your finger with a needle to check your blood sugar level and take pills or insulin shots to control your sugars, but other than that, I really had no idea what diabetes was. Many members of my family have type 2 diabetes, like my mom, great-grandparents, and my grandparents. I knew that my body was mature enough to not get type 1 diabetes, even though I still have a chance to have it. So I started to wonder about type 2 diabetes. After some thinking, I thought of some questions that would help me better understand what exactly type 2 words. I thought of some questions that would help me better understand what exactly type 2 diabetes was. What should I do to avoid being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes? What are some symptoms of the disease, and are there many foods to avoid? After some research, I was able to form my thesis question. Am I at risk for type 2 diabetes? My answer was obvious. Yes, I am in a giant risk of getting type 2 diabetes. But I can prevent having type 2 in the future by avoiding certain foods that have lots of carbs and managing my weight. By doing this, I will be helping my future self and maybe future generations after me. My research took me about a week altogether, and I found many answers to my questions. I started my research first by asking my mom about who I could interview in order to understand type 2 diabetes. My mom told me that Dr. Michelle Turner would probably be my best choice for information. After my mom had contacted Dr. Turner and set up a time and place for the interview, I started my research on the internet using keywords type 2 diabetes and avoiding. Most of the sites that I had were supported by doctors, hospitals, and support groups. These sites were most beneficial to my search. With my thesis question, am I at risk for type 2 diabetes, I was able to narrow down my topic in different platforms to answer my question exactly. For example, some of my topics were types of tests used to diagnose patients, foods that would help manage type 2, and the relationship between type 2 diabetes and obesity. By splitting my research into topics, I helped myself write down my research effectively and happily without any issues. So that's like the first part of that. I remember she wanted us, like my teacher at the time, wanted us to kind of just do a background of what exactly we did. So that was always great. I guess I did not like it at the moment because I was very confused on what to do. But I still think I got a really good grade. I don't remember. But it wasn't a bad grade. It was actually pretty good. So anyways, continuing. The thing that I wanted to know first was what exactly diabetes was. I found out that diabetes is an impairment of the body that affects the way the body regulates and uses sugar as a fuel. Mayo Clinic. This is where your pancreas is not making enough insulin to break down sugars. According to Mayo Clinic, type 2 diabetes can cause complications like nerve damage, blood vessel disease, kidney disease, eye damage, and hearing impairments. By finding this information out, I now know just how dangerous type 2 diabetes can be. After looking up what can cause type 2 diabetes, I know that there are many risks like obesity that have a big effect on whether you will have type 2 diabetes in the future. My family is full of heavy and big bone people, and unfortunately I'm a bit on the heavy side. When people have excess weight, the body's cells become less sensitive to insulin made by the pancreas. Obesity action correlation. Okay. This can be avoidable with exercise and weight loss. Having a family history of type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, and darkened areas of skin can also increase your chances of diabetes. Mayo Clinic. For me, this risk is big. Not only do I have many family members with type 2 diabetes, but I'm also starting to obtain darkened skin and a little bit of pre-diabetes. That is true. Yeah, I remember my mom used to have like a freak out moment. She'd test us completely. Hated it because, it's not very nice to get your finger pricked with a needle. But she was just being careful. So anyways, certain foods can help benefit your health, and there are foods that have a negative impact on your health. For example, fast food and candy are not healthy for your body. Avoiding foods with lots of carbs and eating foods that God has put on this earth will decrease your chances of having type 2 diabetes. That was what Michelle Turner said. The way you treat yourself now can greatly affect how your health turns out in the future. With type 2 diabetes, certain medications can help treat it. According to the American Diabetes Association, pills are mostly taken when a person has type 2 diabetes, but if not treated correctly, the person may be left with insulin shots. I also know this because my grandpa was kind of stubborn, and now he must take insulin shots in the stomach to treat his diabetes. If I ever happen to get type 2 diabetes, I'll take care of myself more than my grandpa did for himself. He's still alive. That made it seem like he's dead, but he's still alive. Many types of tests can determine whether a person has type 2 diabetes. Blood is usually taken out of the finger after being poked with a needle. The fasting blood sugar test occurs after an overnight fasting period of 8 hours. Obesity action correlation. I had to do that because they wanted to test me for pre-diabetes. I remember that. This is the most common test, and I have taken it many times, even before my little brother was born. A random blood sugar test is another test that can diagnose a patient. The test is done without any special preparation, such as fasting overnight. Even if you have eaten, your blood sugar should be at its peak and not above 200. When your blood sugar is, and you also have symptoms, you're probably going to be diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Oh my god, words. To be honest, I have not heard of this test till I started my research. According to the Obesity Action Coalition, the oral sugar tolerance test requires the patient to go to a lab or healthcare professional. Their blood is taken, and when they are given a sweet drink, within 2 hours if the blood sugar number has not gone down, the patient can be diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I have also taken this test before and found out that I am borderline. In my interview with Dr. Turner, I asked her about my chance of having diabetes within the future. She told me, yes, your family has a long history of diabetes. With that, you may have to change how active you are in your eating habits. After doing my research, I have come up with a list or plan for my future self so that I know how to avoid or manage diabetes. This is my list. Number 1, treatments. If I have type 2 diabetes, I should talk with my doctor to find out what type of medicine will benefit the management of my diabetes. Checking my blood every day and going to the hospital for a checkup will help as well. Number 2, foods. I can have sweets and foods with carbs, but I should try to avoid them as best I can. Eating more vegetables and fruits instead of bread and candy. Have a balanced diet. Number 3, exercise. Being more active and having a regular workout schedule will help me avoid getting type 2 diabetes. And then the last section of this paper, wow, this is going on forever. Anyway, advisement on my research. My research was easier than I thought it would be. Although it may have been easy, I have learned plenty of information that I had not known till now. I now know how to organize my work, and I do not want to lose anything. I have also learned how to cite my sources the right way. At first I was shy about interviewing my doctor, but I believe that it was good for me to ask her for help. She helped me better understand my risk for type 2 diabetes. In addition to my research, I collected helpful information that will help avoid or manage type 2 diabetes in the future. So yeah, that took a long time. But yeah, anyways, I guess now you know Laura Evans is definitely at risk for type 2 diabetes. To be honest, although I hated it at the moment, I'm actually really happy that I did it, this research paper. So, yeah. I wonder if you can see her, but the cat's right there. So, anyways, I think that will be it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.